Hey, and welcome back to the Tournament Center. My name is Marshall Sutcliffe, and I am here with the man who needs no introduction, Jon Finkel. Jon, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a really cool thing that I'm excited about. It's called a draft tech. So what we're going to get to do is we're going to get to look at the first 4 picks from all 3 of the packs from the round that you did today. And we're going to get them up on the wall here, and we're going to get to discuss kind of what was going through your head and what led to the picks that you ended up making.
All right, sounds like fun.
All right, so let's take a look at your pack 1, pick 1 here. So we can see that you took Emancipation Angel out of this pack here. Now, when you open it up, I saw you thumb through it, and it seemed like this was the only card that really caught your eye. Was there anything else here that was even in contention with Emancipation Angel?
No.
This is the card, right?
Yeah, I mean, Emancipation Angel is a very good card, and the next best card is going to be something mediocre.
Yeah.
There's just nothing even close. So
yeah.
That was a very easy pick.
Now, I was wondering, you're known for liking blue. I like blue. I also like blue in this format. Were you hoping to see some good blue cards in the early pick, or what, are you very just open and I'm just going to take the best thing that's here? We're at the Pro Tour.
I was hoping to see either blue cards or red cards.
Okay.
Emancipation Angel is an excellent aggressive card.
Yeah.
When you're playing an aggressive deck with cheap costs, playing it turn 3, bouncing a land, that's totally fine. You know, when you have a slower, more controlling blue deck, it's not quite as good. So I was probably going to be wanting white-red or white-blue, and maybe even leaning a little bit towards white-red because of the Emancipation Angel, but not that strongly.
Okay, so why don't we go to the next pick here. And we can see that you took another fine white card with Banishing Stroke. Now, you had a few choices here. Banishing Stroke acts probably as the best removal that you can get here, but you did have a couple of other things like a Defang, there's a Fervent Cathar, which you mentioned you wouldn't mind pairing it with red, and there's also Holy Justiciar, which is perhaps a bit inefficient and certainly not an aggressive creature. Which one of these caught your eye?
I mean, the second best card, though, it was the Smuggler.
Uh-huh.
But I wasn't going to take that. Banishing Stroke isn't really that great. Most of the time it's a 6-mana Desert Twister, at least it's an instant.
Yeah.
But the Smuggler, I think, is actually a better card in a vacuum. But it's another color. It's not really that much better than the Banishing Stroke. And maybe it's not even better. They're kind of close. So I was just happy to take the Banishing Stroke and stay in color. Defang I don't like it. I play it usually, but I'm never happy.
Yep.
I like the Cathar, but I'm not going to take it over the Banishing Stroke. Again, it's another color. And yeah, you know, I sometimes play the Justiciar. I thought it was a Justicar.
Yeah.
But I'm never happy to do so. I don't really like playing it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
So it was Banishing Stroke, and there wasn't going to be anything else.
Okay, so why don't we go to the third pick here. Now you do commit, or not commit, but you at least venture into another color here. So if we look at white, there's really nothing here. We've got an Angel's Mercy, it's not playable. So you were kind of forced to go into something else. What caught your eye out of these? I mean, we see a Human Frailty, which is a pretty solid removal spell, although it's in black. Searchlight Geist is a serviceable creature. You ended up going with the Havengul Vampire over here. What was your reasoning there?
Yeah, I don't see black cards in this format.
They're invisible to you?
They just don't exist. I was actually ecstatic to see a Human Frailty. You know, it's the best card in the pack. It's probably good against what I'm going to be playing because I could pass on to the next guy and increase the chances he's going to be playing black. Okay. Havengul Vampire is very good in the white-red aggressive deck.
Really solid.
So, and there's no other really playable. I mean, Pathbreaker Worm, no, and white-green isn't even that good. The Alchemist Apprentice I think is actually a solid card. I mean, it's nowhere near as good as the Vampire. It's a totally different deck. So it was just Vampire. Not much thought. So
at this point, are you looking into being red-white aggressive? Is that where you're going?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to the last pick for your. For the first pack here. So there's a couple of options for your deck. There's a Farbog Explorer, there's another Justiciar, although if we're going to be aggressive, that's probably not on the plate. There's a Voice of the Provinces, which is a pretty inefficient 6-drop, let's just be straight with that. And then you've got a Thatcher Revolt here. You ended up taking the Revolt, kind of an all-in card. I mean, if you're going to take a Revolt, you're going to be very aggressive. You're fine with that in this format?
Yeah, it was a pretty easy pick. The Angels team can be good in an aggressive deck, but I'm not super in love with it. The Explorer is maybe the next best card. This guy costs 6. He's actually a little better than he looks somehow, but not in the deck with the Vampire and with the guy maybe bouncing my land on turn 3. Okay. The Revolt, it really sets up the white-red aggressive deck. It's phenomenal with the Vampire. I just took third pick.
Oh, okay, because those guys
they
all
all die at the end of turn, and he gets 3 counters. So it was just pretty easy, Thatcher's Revolt, and move on.
Okay, yeah. All right, so let's take a look. So the rest of the pack, you kind of stayed on course. I noticed a couple of blue cards came your way when there wasn't much else, and you picked them up, but it didn't end up sticking. You picked up a Scrap Skin Drake and a couple of things, but they weren't really where you ended up going.
Right, I picked up a Scrap Skin Drake, I think a Peel. It seemed like
Peel
blue was open a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was definitely open to the idea that I might end up really playing any 2 of the 3 colors.
Yeah.
Probably white, because my best card, probably my last 2 cards were in white.
Okay, Emancipation Angel being probably the top one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Banishing Stroke or the Vamp. The Vampire's private and the Banishing Stroke, it's very deck dependent. So I probably want to play white, with either red or blue, but red-blue could happen.
Okay, so why don't we take a look at the next pick here. So you open up your pack, and it looks similar to your first in that you see an Emancipation Angel, but assuming that you were going to be near red, you have Pillar of Flame as well, which is probably considered a premium removal spell in the format. What's the tiebreaker here?
I just think Emancipation Angel is a better card.
You want to play more threats than answers here, or is it just like a level above?
It's a little bit of both. If you're going for the aggressive deck, you really want to just put out threats, doing damage. The Angel comes out, he's really hard to block. He's just super good evasion creature. He's probably going to end up with some synergies in what I end up with my deck. And Pillar's a very good card.
Yeah.
I still have this idea in my head that maybe I could end up white-blue as well.
Okay.
And also when I have 2 Emancipation Angels, then, maybe I can at least draft my deck a little bit more around that.
Okay.
So if I'm playing a 1-drop that's maybe a little bit marginal, when I have 2 Emancipation Angels, all of a sudden this makes sense. Whereas kind of adjusting your deck for 1 Emancipation Angel, it's a little bit sketch.
Yeah, maybe a Scroll of Avacyn or something to kind of give you something to drop that you can return. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at the next pick here. So you've got actually a reasonably tough choice here with an Heirs of Stromkirk and a Hanweir Lancer. Was this like a curve-based decision, or do you think Hanweir Lancer is just significantly better than the Heirs?
Yeah, I don't think this is a close pick.
Okay.
I think the Lancer's way better. I think it's way better in my deck. I think the Heirs of Stromkirk are very mediocre. I cut them sometimes.
Oh, really?
I usually play them.
Okay.
But I think that's the classic card that kind of looks a little bit better than it is.
This one actually wheeled, so you might be
did
right.
wheel, as it turns out.
Yeah.
So I just took the Lancer. I was kind of disappointed that my second pick was not super, but that guy's pretty solid. He really ends up getting a lot of damage because first strike and giving out the creature first strike, it makes him hard to block in the early game.
You would have rather had a Riot Ringleader instead of him?
Yes.
Okay, because of the Thatcher Revolt?
Yes.
All right, let's look at the next pick. All right, so assuming that we're still in red-white, which I think it's safe to assume at this point, you've got a Righteous Blow, which is a reasonable removal spell. You've got a Kessig Malcontents, which really goes with your plan well. Moonlight Geist, which is just worse than that, and then a Thunderbolt if you were really worried about flyers or wanted that last-minute burn. Did it come down to Righteous Blow and Kessig Malcontents for you as far as what the last 2 choices were?
No, I think Righteous Blow is the 4th best card.
Okay, so which order do you put those for?
Righteous Blow, it's pretty mediocre. I like to cut it when I can. You have to get the combat. All right, then I can burn a guy that's already blocked. That's not really what I'm looking for. Malcontents were just very synergistic in my deck.
Yes.
It's probably the best card. Thunderbolt, I've actually been very, very happy with. At the beginning of the format, I wouldn't always play main deck, I wouldn't play them all. Every time I've found it's overperformed. The Moonlight Geist is also very good in the white-red deck because it's an evasion creature that costs 3.
Yep.
If you put gun to my head, I would have gone Malcontents, Geist, Thunderbolt, Righteous Blow.
Okay. Why don't we take a look at the next pick here? And you pick up another Thatcher Revolt here. Now, this time, though, you have quite a few choices, but the one that caught my eye when I was watching was a Vigilante Justice. How do you rate this card?
If there's one pick in the draft I could have back, it would be this pick. The white-red deck, it seems like a lot of times it develops into having some number of Thatcher's Revolts.
Yes.
Some number of things that really trigger off the Thatcher's Revolt. Vigilante Justice is obviously one of them, but there's the Striker, there's the Ringleader, potentially the Malcontents.
If you wait.
You might end up with the white guy, the commander that gives all your guys +1/+1 if a creature comes into play.
Yep, Gold Meadow Commander.
And usually you find yourself with more things that are turned on than you have Thatcher's Revolts. But I'm not even sure if I should think the Vigilante Justice or the Malcontents. They're both phenomenal in the deck. Vigilante Justice, it's a little expensive at 4.
Doesn't impact the board immediately.
The Malcontents, they're obviously awesome with, I have 2 of the Bounce Angels. You know, that is kind of a little bit slow, a little bit getting tricksy. I think the Thatcher Revolt is actually the third card to take here.
Do you put the Fervent Cathar ahead of it, or does it go Vigilante Justice, Malcontents, which order?
It's these two. I'm not sure, to be honest, which one I would put in first. Yeah, I mean, I really couldn't tell you which one I should have taken. The Fervent Cathar, I love Fervent Cathar. I think it's a great card.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm just going, again, for like all-out, you know, aggro synergy.
Sure. And
the best version of the deck is going to end up, you know, with Thatcher's Revolts and things that feed off of it.
Okay, so why don't we take a look at the last pack here as we go down the stretch. Now, okay, so there's another Heirs of Strongkirk. You're not a big fan of that card. You got a Hanweir Lancer, not much else.
No, I mean, I'm very unhappy that, you know, I took maybe the third best card in the pack, but...
Does this hurt your feelings a little bit? Or?
You know, the Avenger, which is insane.
Yep.
But, you know, Lancer's good in my deck. I'm happy to have it.
Yeah.
I'm not happy to have first pick, but I'm very happy to have it.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at the next pick here. All right. So is this the part where you get unhappy?
Yeah, I'm very unhappy.
I mean, you're second picking a Defang. You're probably not that excited to do that. No. There's also the second Mist Raven coming by, which is always kind of the, you know, head shaker. Yeah.
I almost took the Cathedral Sanctifier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a human. It's you know, it costs 1. You know, it's really good with my Bounce Angels. Yeah, okay, my deck isn't really looking to gain life, but you know, if it's a 1/1 and I end up just getting 6 life off of it, and it's a human, it got to attack, it really does a lot.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a decent chance at my table. I think actually this one did.
Yeah.
And you know, the Defang, okay, I'm aggressive, but it still has a role. So I just, you know, took the Defang and, you know,
kind of bit your lip and took it. All right, so let's take a look at the next pick here. Another card that you're not super excited about, but this pack, kind of like the last one, really didn't have much for you.
No, there was basically nothing.
I mean,
Mass Components is obviously the best card by a long shot, and then you have 2 good green cards with the Joint Assault and the Lumberknight in the right deck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have the unplayable Commander's Authority.
Yep.
The mediocre Sanctifier. Maybe this was a Sanctifier at the table, but not the other one. So, you know, I took the Righteous Blow. I'm not in love with it, but I'll take it over nothing. Yeah, and in the type of deck that you're doing, you're looking to pressure your opponent. So they're not often going to be attacking into a situation where this is good. You're looking to curve out. You're not going to be leaving mana up for a Righteous Blow. It's going to have to hit a blocker at some point, in which case they've blocked, so you lose a little value there. Yeah, it still only costs 1 mana, so you know, it's pretty mana efficient. Again, it's better than nothing. I'm probably going to play in my deck. I did play in my deck. Okay, and let's take a look at the last pick. Hey, look, we're getting used to this. Thatcher Revolt's coming up. So this would be your third Thatcher Revolt of the draft. Are these better in numbers? Like, do you want as many of these as you can get? Not really. You want a good mix of Thatcher's Revolt, or Thatcher Revolt, I guess it is, and cards that work well off of it. Mm-hmm. So this just really rubbed in that pick from last pack. Where you would have rather had... If I had 2 Revolts and a Justice, or 2 Revolts and 2 Malcontents, I'd be so much happier with my deck. Right. Then with 3 Revolts, you know, I have a Malcontent. You know, I have the Vampire, which super feeds off it, but if I don't draw the Vampire, you know, a lot of times it's like bolt you for 3 or maybe just 2. So, you know, but obviously I take the Thatcher's Revolt and, you know, look at the Mist Raven go by. Yeah, so did that hurt your feelings a little? Like, that was the third one from this pack. I mean, obviously you wouldn't go back and change your picks based on it, but do you kind of cringe when you see that third one come by? You know, yeah, I mean, you know, I realized I could have gotten a very good blue-white deck. Yep. Maybe a good, you know, blue-red deck, very good blue deck. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Right. Yeah. I mean, you made the picks with the information that you had in front of you, and you live with it. Exactly. All right, John. Well, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming by to do this. And yeah, so from the Tournament Center, this has been a Draft Tech. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe for Jon Finkel, saying bye.